here at Curzon Bloomsbury. Have you been to this one before?
Yes, because I stayed in a hotel just nearby here when I was prepping a show, and I would pass here like many times.
What was the show?
Prisoner. It's not out yet. It's for Sky.
I'm excited for that because you're really good at navigating like TV and film. Is there like a different approach to it? I mean, you're with a TV show. You're kind of longer with a role.
I don't make a difference between a good part in a show and a good part in a movie. It's all about a good project, like good scripts and all. And I've always done this, like jumping from a series to a movie, because I feel like when you like a part and you want to work, you got a good script and all, there's no reason to say no because it's a show or not. And but in terms of preparation, it's different. Yeah, it's the rhythm. When you shoot a show, you don't have a lot of time to get prepared, but it's a good school for an actor because you have to be like in it instantly, and it helps a lot. It's like a good training for movies.
Yeah, I feel so many of your films, you really lose yourself in your role. Like it's not Tahar Rahim, it's the character. So I'm really interested to talk about, and obviously you've got Alpha coming out, and in that you play a man who is an addict. And it's, transformative is such an understatement for that. So I'd love you to tell me a little bit about where you start when you start with the character. You've got the script, but what is that process that gets you there on set?
It depends on the role and on the movie and its director. I'm going to explain. For Alpha, for example, when you read the script, you know it's inherent to the project to physically change. Because I would have maybe ruined the movie from the inside out if I don't look like the character, if I don't match. So I knew that I had to lose a lot of kilos just to match the character. It wasn't even a conversation with Julia because we knew it. But the hardest thing, I mean, it was hard to lose that amount of weight, but the hardest thing was to find the character, his soul. So the physicality was just the most important key to open a door to a very important world, like a psychological world, emotional world, and to dig more to find the soul of the character. Yeah.
I guess there's a lot of talk about method. There's the capital M method. That's like Stanislavski, which like Adler and the Strasberg and the Meisner technique, and there's that school for it. And then there's this idea that I think media puts on method, where it says like, oh, it's someone who never breaks character, someone who kind of is very stoic on set, doesn't talk to people. And I think it's become this, there's a mythic quality to it. What does it even mean? So I guess for you, like, do you have a method that is inspired? Because I know you love like De Niro and Hoffman, and they went to the Actors Studio in the 70s, New Hollywood. So like, I guess where does your method come from, and is it adapted from those schools of thought?
Method acting might be the most important inspiration to me. I tried it, I studied it, and over the course of my career, I came to realize that a method is dictated by a movie, So, and it depends on the role. So yes, I take some stuff from method acting, like trying to immerse myself in the character and study it, trying to touch reality, to be another person. But it's a little different. I want to take some of here, some of there, and the more I practice my art, the more I feel like you just feel the moment and trust yourself. But of course, you gotta do your homework. And I need it, because if I don't do this, I can't believe in what I'm doing. And I need to touch reality to be like really immersed in my character and study it just to be able to get away from reality and have that little space that I like to call fantasy. Like playing with, the reality, the unreal, and just play around and create things that are not written or not really real, but could fit with the vision of a director.
Yeah. So is it kind of like you have your emotions that are your emotions, and then you create, I guess, the emotions of the character, and in a way what you're trying to do is this like marriage between them where it feels like I'm not playing the character, I'm not playing myself, I'm kind of somewhere in between, and that comes out on screen.
Yeah, you got to meet halfway through,
Yeah.
I think, because when you create a character, you can imagine the way he will get angry or love or get sad, but it has to come from something, from a sort of truth, and that truth, and it's not the truth, has to come from inside, from yourself. You have to experience it somehow, just to have like a little bit of truth, and then you just, you make it bigger and bigger because it's your job, and then you convey it to the audience. But I had that, it was an important conversation with my director when I had to portray Charles Aznavour. He is a famous figure and people know him, but he was from another time, right? So we had some footage and a lot of documents, and I saw them all. I talked with his family, and I also had like some private stuff that I could, use for my character. But I didn't find anything that could show me the way he would be angry, the way he would talk to his wife, or being in love, or talking to his kids, and being a different father than what he was showing. And that's the moment when you have to use yourself. But if you use yourself 100%, you're not in character anymore. So you gotta mix it. It's like a, let's say, a liquid frontier,
I interviewed Gillian Anderson once when she was playing Margaret Thatcher, the Prime Minister in the Crown series. And similarly, there's so many public videos of her. You can see the speeches, you can see her in Parliament, but I didn't know, and she was trying to say, I just didn't know what her accent was like at home. Like, she talks in a certain way, the way she is an orator and the way she gives speeches, but it's like trying that, and I guess it's that space for inventiveness, which is like the dreamy space that actors can find, because then you have some authorship. And is it really important for you, I guess, having that authorship over each one of your roles?
Yeah, because you want to have fun.
Yeah.
You want to have fun, you want to play around, you want to allow yourself to improvise. And to allow yourself to improvise, you don't have another choice but, taking from yourself and then put it in the character. Once you're self-confident enough, you can play around.
Yeah. I think about, I don't know, with De Niro, when he was doing Taxi Driver, he drove a cab, stayed up sleepless nights. There's all the kind of infamous stories of Dustin Hoffman doing Marathon Man. Him running like a mile, like half a mile, every time before he had to do a scene, and like staying up for 2 days before he did a scene with Laurence Olivier. I guess, is there a kind of, when you're playing an addict, obviously you can't be too much of that character, but like how do you find ways when you're doing certain roles? God, you've made lots of difficult roles that you kind of don't want to get experience of. The Mauritanian in A Prophet, it's hard to kind of, how do you experience what they're experiencing? So yeah, can you tell me a little bit about with Alpha, because I think you work with Gaia, kind of a charity that works with people who are recovered addicts or people in those spaces. So how important is that, where you can't live the experience, but you can glean it from people who have?
Yeah, I think you have to live the experience a little bit, find a way to live it somehow, even if it's transformed. So the examples you just mentioned with a Taxi and Marathon Man and all, I do it. For the Mauritanian, I wanted to be shackled for real, just to feel it and understand a little more, to get the character and to get more connected to him. Like, because I can't fake anything. I wish I could. I wish I could fake something and make it real. Because some actors do, and they know how to do it, but I just can't. I tried, and it doesn't work. So, yeah, I need to just, experience things for real. And for Alpha, it was a little more complicated because I wouldn't use drugs. Yeah. I'm not crazy, not at this point.
Get that on record.
But losing weight helped me to find like a sort of, I needed to lack of something, and the food was important. I felt like hungry at first, but then you lose the hunger, and then you lose the taste, and the further you go, and the harder it gets to touch reality finally, and you go like, what am I going to do? I'm not going to use drugs. And something strange happened is that I think I've developed an addiction to, you're going to laugh because that's funny, to cherry tomatoes and pistachios.
Yeah.
And that's real, but I didn't realize it at first. So it was like my little treat at 11 p. And one day I didn't have them. So I went out on the streets and I found a way I took my scooter, I drove in Paris just to find the right ones and all. And I did it once, twice, many times. And at some point, my wife and my friends were like looking at me like I was, from another world. And I go like, hey guys, I think I've developed an addiction to cherry tomatoes and all. And they go like, oh yeah? We didn't notice. I'm like, all right. And that's when I realized that something happened. And it doesn't need to be the exact same thing as the character, as long as it's real.
Yeah.
So I took this and, used it as in my brain, something is happening. It's really hard to explain how you take this and change it in your mind as if it was drugs or whatever. But I used that sort of addiction to help me to go right next to the cliff. And when I was there, I felt like, okay, I feel like I'm ready to jump, but I better not do it. And that's when you touch reality.
Yeah. I'm like, do you have in one pocket pistachios and in the other cherry tomatoes ready to go?
Yeah, and the crazy thing is that when I volunteered and met some drug users, they allowed me in their intimacy, their private moments, and I've seen them in their rituals. And without even knowing it, I started to do it with the cherry tomatoes and all. I would cut them in 2 pieces, cut the pistachios in 2, and put it inside, doing some crazy stuff. And you understand that it's not just about the product, it's a ritual.
Yeah.
There is something that brings you back maybe to when you weren't even born, when they were in the womb of their moms. It was nice and quiet and hot and and that's what they do. It's very important, the ritual. So I used it as well, but it came by itself. Yeah. I didn't try to create it. So then I took this as well as a real feeling and put it into Amin.
What's it like on the last day of shoot, or like the day after your final shoot day, where does that character go? Where does that person go? So how easy is it to decompress?
I don't really find it hard to quit the character. It's harder to get in, for me. But this time, I had another struggle because once you lose that much weight, you have to climb up. And it takes time, weeks. And you just want to eat everything and go back to your normal life.
What's the most recent, I guess, meaningful cinema experience that you've had? That maybe not related to one of your films, but you've watched a movie and it's just kind of like a movie, a documentary.
I think it's the last Paul Thomas Anderson.
One battle after another.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
I really loved it.
Would you love to work? I love Paul Thomas Anderson.
I dream of working with him.
My favorite is Boogie Nights.
Boogie Nights, yeah, that's great. But I gotta say that I don't know, but the master is really good because what was it? The one before, There Will Be Blood, and the master are like the two faces of the same coin. One is the devil, and the other one is God. Even in the colors, you know, it's fire, and on the other one is more water. You know, it's the devil, and the master is about God and the Trinity. You know, so I think these two movies goes together, and when you watch them, you know, you see how great the director is. That's the way I felt it.
What's been so interesting for you, I guess, you know, working with so many great directors, is there things that kind of surprise you or you take away? And I guess, would you want to direct as well?
Oh.
Big one.
I mean, it's such a responsibility, and I respect this art so much that if I'm going to direct a movie someday, it has to be not just meaningful, but a need to tell a story. If not, I won't.
Do you have stories that you feel need to be told? Roles that you'd love to play?
It's always hard to answer that question.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of roles that you want to play, but I find it hard to just find the right answer. Like, I want to play this guy or this sort of, but I want to be in I can talk about genres or mythologies. I would love to be in a Western, for example, you know. I would love to make a movie in space, or, I don't know, being a lost samurai in Paris. But, you know, to be specific, it's just not possible. Yeah. But yeah, I want to keep changing universe, you know, jumping from one genre to another one, and find like virgin fields of acting, because that's the only way to be motivated and to not disrespect the, let's say, the privilege I have to be an actor.
Yeah. Do you not get these offers? I'm so surprised that like someone hasn't been like, we need Tahar Rahim for this Western. Because I feel like you pop up in so many different places as well, and you know, gosh, even working with like Ridley Scott in like Napoleon. I was like, wait, you're doing Gladiator 2, and you're not gonna put Tahar Rahim in there, an actual North African actor, in there.
I wish I could.
Yeah, but I guess like, you must get so many scripts in. Do you find that they're kind of do you feel ever boxed in by some of the scripts that you're offered versus like you've just said you want to do sci-fi, you want to do westerns or like a samurai film or what? Do you find that you kind of the roles that you're getting maybe aren't as broad in a way that you'd like them to be?
Not really. There was a time when I was frustrated by the offers I had, whether from France or Hollywood. When I first started in the business, it was with a profit, and people back in France the offers were the same type of roles and, you know, typecasted and all, so I said no. And I started to work with, I had an American agent at the time, and I worked with Kevin MacDonald in The Eagle of the Ninth, and it was interesting because I was like playing an Indian, sort of, in a dead language. So the challenge was exciting enough to just go, and we still have a great relationship, and obviously we did the Mauritanian together. But it was all about playing terrorists and all, and I remember saying it to my agent at the time, like, I don't want to play this, and someday I had an offer from a great director, and she goes, like, you can't say no, and I'm like, but I'm saying no, I'm not going to do it. So I forgot about Hollywood for some time, and I focused on working with directors that sees me the way I want to be seen and explored. And there were foreign directors for many years, and suddenly the more you work with great directors, the more the industry sees your work and they start to change their mind. And I think the responsibility is shared between whoever, producers, directors, and actors, because you got to make some choices. You got to be ready to say no and wait, and take risks. If you don't do this, I don't think you'll achieve your dreams and fulfill your dreams. And taking risks keeps you alive artistically.
Tahar, thank you so much for
Thank you.
chatting.